Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law she won't be seeing my baby after throwing a baby shower for herself? Plus updates. Original post. My husband and I are expecting our first child. We moved to be closer to his family. I'm no contact with mine. My mother-in-law has been referring to the baby as her baby this entire time. She will say things like, I can't wait for my baby to be born. My baby is going to be so loved. This rubs me the wrong way for reasons I cannot explain, but my husband tells me to ignore her. My mother-in-law wanted to throw me a baby shower and invite her friends. She said they made an agreement a long time ago that they would celebrate each other's kids' weddings and births. My husband and I eloped and declined a reception for her friends since we don't know them. And my mother-in-law told me that I owed it to her to let her throw the baby shower since I hurt her friends' feelings by not having wedding reception. I asked if I could invite my friends, and she said no, that this was for her friends, and that if my friends wanted to throw me a shower, they could. I reluctantly agreed. My husband and I spent hours in our registry, and my mother-in-law asked for it so she could share with her friends. She said she forwarded the registry on. She asked me what design I wanted on my cake and cookies. I told her flowers because I am decorating the nursery in a garden theme. At the shower, they provided me with a mother-to-be sash and my mother-in-law a granny-to-be sash to wear. I noticed that the theme of the shower was circus animals. The cake had an elephant and balloons on it, and the cookies were animals. At first, I thought that maybe the floral theme was just too difficult, so I rolled with it, until it was time to open presents. Every present was some sort of circus animal. Onesies, blankets, toys, nothing on my registry. I was a little confused, and even went so far to check my registry to make sure I had it goofed up and changed everything. I thanked everyone for their gifts and tried to sound as gracious as possible, but I was so confused. My husband, who is a little less tactful than I am, showed up at the end of the shower and noticed the theme right away. He goes, "What's up with all the circus animals?" He looks at the presents and says, "This isn't what we asked for." Then he looked at his mom and goes, "Mom, what did you do?" She smiled and said, "I didn't like the theme you chose for my baby. I'm going to decorate my baby's nursery at my house with circus animals, so I created a registry for myself." My husband said, "You did what?" She says, "My baby's going to need a room at my house, so I threw a shower for myself." I lost my composure and told her that she would not see my baby and to stop calling the baby hers. And my husband told his mom that she's delusional if she thinks we're going to allow this. She started crying and said we are just withholding her baby from her. And we've been getting texts from his family since the shower, calling us selfish and ungrateful and saying we ruined her joy of being a grandma. Are we the a-holes? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. Make sure if she has keys to your home, locks are changed. Make sure you invest in security cameras. Let the hospital know your mother-in-law is to be nowhere near your baby. Let them know that you and your husband are the only two that fill out any paperworks. Honestly, no contact from the start. That way she has no grandparents' visitation case. Documents every creepy thing she does. Call your doctor and tell your pediatrician at a time to password protect your medical information. Your mother-in-law is unhinged, and this has hands that rock the cradle vibes. Also, make sure daycare has a picture of her for the no pickup list. And I agree, this is either going to end in attempted baby snatching or bunny boiling. And maybe all her cronies, in case one of them decides to try to pick up her baby. What the heck did I just read? Like, just how creepy can your mother-in-law get? She's pretty much trying to steal your child from you, so heck no, you're obviously not the a-hole. There is nothing wrong with a good grandmother expecting her grandchild to come over for sleepovers. There is nothing wrong with a grandmother to prepare a bedroom for that. There is nothing wrong with a grandmother deciding the theme for that room. But your mother-in-law took it to an unacceptable level of creepiness. She had no right to throw a baby shower for herself. That is not what baby showers are for. If she wanted gifts from her friends, fine. But she, 1, should have been honest up front. 2, shouldn't have called it a baby shower. 3, shouldn't have led you to believe you'd receive gifts from your registry. Likewise, she had no right to put herself at the same level as you with those sashes. Most of all, she absolutely has no right to call your baby hers, and that BS needs to stop. This is decidedly not about her being a grandmother, and that's precisely the issue at hand. She doesn't see herself as a grandmother. She sees herself as your baby's mother, or at least at the same level as you. And that is not okay. Cheers for your husband for finally stepping in. He should have trusted your intuition, but at least he's now taking your side. Go over to r/justknowmother-in-law and you'll see this type of story every single week. Sadly, this seems to be quite common. I'm also sure this baby isn't that only odd thing this mother-in-law has done, nor will it be the last. The immediate "mom, what did you do?" and not "did something change" tells me the husband knows his mom does this type of thing. Now for the first update. I have text messages where mother-in-law and I conversed about the shower, what I wanted, me sending her my registry, etc. She was all, "This is going to be so wonderful. You're going to love it. My friends are so excited for you. I can't wait to see what everyone gets you." Call me naive, but I did not think that she had ill intent with this. For those asking why I reluctantly agreed to attend a party with her friends, I could tell how much it meant to her to carry on this tradition with her friends. But I was hesitant because I had never met them. My husband and I had declined a wedding reception she wanted to throw for the same reason. I didn't know them, and he hadn't seen them in over 20 years. We had eloped, so we had no intention of throwing a reception of any kind. We didn't even have a bridal shower, other than the one that my coworkers threw as a surprise. But I could see how much it meant to her to host this shower, and there's a part of me that wishes I had this kind of tradition in my life. I also felt guilty when she said her friends' feelings were hurt that they couldn't celebrate our marriage. I spoke with my husband last night before we went to bed and told him that I feel like we need to say something to the extended family sooner rather than later. I said I understand he wants to respond logically and not emotionally, but that I also feel like us not saying anything looks like we had something to hide. He agreed and said that he will send a well-worded response later today. He just wants to think of how to word it before sending anything. I can respect that. He wants to make the situation better, not worse. As I said in my original post, he's a little tactless and he knows it. He wants to make sure he keeps what he says neutral and to the point. He's also not sure what to say to his mom at this point. He said once he sees how the family reacts to the whole story, then he'll be able to make a better judgment of how to approach her. There had been zero discussion with her about setting up a room at her house for the baby. I asked my husband last night if had she mentioned anything to him about it, and he said no, other than she suggested we add a pack and play to our registry so we can have a portable crib. He said he was shocked, as I was to find out that she had intended on setting up a full-fledged nursery at her house, and that he had no idea she was throwing a shower for herself. I asked him why he didn't take me seriously when I said that her calling the baby her baby made me uncomfortable, and he said that he thought it was just a generational thing. I asked why I didn't ask her to stop, and he said he wishes he had, and feels bad for not taking me more seriously. He said he knows I have trauma from the years of mistreatment at my mother's hand, and thought maybe I was reacting due to that, but now he sees that it goes beyond that. He also knows that due to my past experiences, I tend to blame myself for things and don't stand up for myself even though I should. I grew up believing everything that went wrong was my fault. Years of therapy have helped, but I still find myself with that mindset in some situations. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, trying to keep the peace. So he wishes he had stood up sooner, rather than disregarding what made me uncomfortable. He repeated that his mom is notorious for making things about herself, but that he had no clue she would go to this extent. We agreed that if she had just been honest with her intent, then we would have been okay with it. Maybe a little weirded out if we're being honest here, but we would have allowed it. What bothers both of us the most is the extent she went to deceive us, rather than just having a conversation with us. We had no clue grandparent showers were a thing either. We're not certain we want to go 100% no contact with mother-in-law at this time, but we want to keep our distance from her for now. We did agree that she will not be allowed to be alone with a baby for the foreseeable future. The hospital that I'm giving birth in allows infants to stay in the room with the mother. So my husband and I have agreed that she, the baby, will stay with us as much as possible. We're still up in the air as to whether we're going to allow visitors at a hospital. Some of that will be determined how I feel after the birth, if I end up needing a C-section, etc. Mother-in-law definitely will not be allowed in the room while I'm delivering. No one but the husband and our medical staff. The big thing we agreed on is that we want our baby to be loved and safe and secure. He knows that I don't have a family to fall back on, other than my brother who has said that he will buy a plane ticket and be out here ASAP if I need him. And my friends, who have been very supportive and are excited to become aunties. We want our baby to have a sense of family that I did not have growing up. Husband's dad and stepmom have been absolutely amazing from the second we announced our pregnancy to them, and I have no doubt the two of them will be loving, doting grandparents. Honestly, I suspect mother-in-law will be a good grandma, but she's going to have to earn my and my husband's trust again. Now for the second update. Most of you are correct. My husband talked to his brother yesterday. Mother-in-law is plotting to take my child, but it's because she thinks I'm going to be like my own mother. My own mother was physically and emotionally abusive to me and my brother. Mother-in-law told basically everyone that I'm mentally unstable, so she's preparing a room for when, not if, my husband leaves with a baby. The baby shower was a ruse to try to get a rise out of me and show her friends how unstable I am, but my husband ruined it by showing up and being the one to really say something. I mouthed it off a bit, but my mother-in-law was hoping to really push me over the edge. I assumed the "my baby" comments were testing the waters as well. I've been in therapy for years, and I've been working on my own fear of being like my mom with my therapist. We have a weekly standing appointment on Zoom. I've also talked with my OB and my psychiatrist about staying on my medication and watching closely for signs of postpartum depression. My husband has been a part of all these conversations and has sat in therapy with me multiple times. I'm not violent or known to have violent outbursts. I tend to withdraw and be non-confrontational when I'm upset. I can't say I fault mother-in-law for having concerns, but I wish she'd gone about showing it in a completely different manner, such as talking with me and my husband. He has half a mind to go to her house and just rip her a new one, but I told him no. We're not going to fight fire with fire. If she'd talked with me about her concerns, I feel we wouldn't have reached this point. I've been able to share what I went through with her. We've always been able to talk about things. She's seen my arms and legs, which are scarred from physical abuse. She's odd, but never uncivil towards me. I would have told her I shared those concerns and then told her what steps I'm taking to prevent them. I haven't told her about having those worries because, ironically enough, I didn't want her to worry. I don't want to keep my daughter from a grandparent who loves her. I just wish things had been handled a little differently. This is utterly terrifying. I do not know this woman like you or your husband, but if I were you, I would never trust her with my child. Even if she eventually says, "Okay, yes, I now know you are a fit mother," I wouldn't believe her words. I don't think this desire to save her baby from what she thinks is a threat will go away anytime soon, no matter what you do. Being a victim of mistreatment does not mean you will mistreat someone. Yes, there are victims that become abusers, but there are also abusers who never experienced abuse themselves. I am so happy to see that you and your husband are in agreement here. I see way too many stories on here of husbands falling victim to overbearing family members just to keep the peace, which almost never works because then they just blow up the peace between themselves and their spouse. You got this, Mama. You just brought tears to my eyes. Thank you for your kind words. You're right. The abuse cycle can end with my mother. My therapist told me that not being worried I was going to be like my mom would mean I was more likely to be like her. I think I worded that correctly. I haven't slept much in a week. I still wouldn't leave them alone together because she now has a history of not communicating and trying to push you into a bad mental state in front of other people and very outwardly threatening to take the baby. Someone concerned with safety would have done this quietly and just let the husband know in case he needs an escape. It's your life though. I wish you and your husband luck and love. Thank you for the update, Toby. She didn't talk to my husband either. She can talk to everyone but us, the two people who most know and understand the situation. Husband is livid and wants to go no contact with her and anyone who went along with her plot, which is basically everyone on her side of the family. I'm not sure that's the best approach, but I also don't know what to say to any of them at this point. Have you considered talking about it with your therapist? I'm not sure if they have experience with interpersonal conflict, but they can most likely point you in the right direction in how to handle this. Absolutely. We have my weekly appointment on Monday. Husband is going to sit in on the session as well. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister-in-law's baby shower after she refused to support me when I had a stillbirth and stole my daughter's name? 3 months ago, I, 28 female, gave birth to my angel baby whom I was going to name Siobhan. My husband Dylan, 30 male, and I are still grieving her loss. We lost her due to preterm premature rupture of membranes, and there was nothing the doctors could do to save her. My mother is Irish, and I was going to name my baby after my great-auntie. We were so happy, and now we are devastated. My family rallied around us, and so did Dylan's parents. But his sister was a different story. She has been helping Dylan, but has told me I need to get over it. It being in reference to our daughter. My husband's sister, Claire, 34 female, just announced her pregnancy at 20 weeks and had her gender reveal on Instagram. I'm happy for her, but sad at the same time because I never got to meet my daughter. Then she announced she was going to have a baby shower and sent out invitations last week. When we received the invitation, it said, "Help us welcome our baby, Siobhan." I can admit I cried looking at the invitation. Claire and my husband's family have no connection to Ireland nor the name Siobhan, and when my husband asked her why she chose the name, Claire said it sounded pretty. And because we weren't able to use it, she was going to take it first. And to clarify, no, she is not naming her baby after my daughter. As much as I want to feel happy for Claire, I just can't. I feel like she's rubbing the fact that my baby's dead in my face. And I RSVP'd no to the invite. She called me on my private number and chewed me out for being a sour witch, not being happy for her, and being jealous over nothing. I feel like I should be happy for her, but I just can't. I just want my baby girl, my Siobhan. Am I the a-hole? This is so disgusting and vile. I wouldn't even do this to my worst enemy, let alone my brother's wife. Even if she dislikes you, does she connect the dots that it was her brother's baby too? I'm enraged for you. Honestly, I feel like you should post the invitation side by side with a memorial photo of your angel baby or hospital bill and tell the truth of what sister-in-law did. That the name is Irish, you named your baby after your family and your baby passed away, then sister-in-law decided to use the same name, with no prior connection to the name or Ireland, and told you to get over it and called you a sour witch less than 3 months after your baby died. Yes, you don't own the name, but the pain of seeing/hearing a baby called that within your own family is devastating. And then let karma do its thing. I'm sure your family and friends will have your back and rightfully put sister-in-law in her place, and hopefully the backlash will make her choose another name. Not a-hole. If I were your husband, I would immediately cut my sister out of my life. No questions, no conversation about it. I have her footprints framed in my room and her ashes in a tiny urn. It didn't hit me hard until we went shopping for urns and caskets. They're so small. Jesus, my heart breaks for you, OP. I can't believe your sister-in-law would be so cruel.